Hello there, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tolu Akinyemi. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by. It's a privilege to be in your space. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back again. Today, I want to share about a natural phenomenon, this natural feeling of wanting to belong. For instance, if you go to church, there's this natural feeling of wanting to feel welcome. If you get to a new job, you want to feel like you belong, you want to integrate. If you migrate somewhere, you want to integrate into the culture, you want to feel that sense of belonging. It is absolutely natural for every one of us to feel there. However, where the problem is and where we are going to hit the nail on the head is when you start making so many adjustments to belong and eventually start losing yourself in the process. I'm going to share a story. I saw a movie recently, and that lady, she got fired from her job in the city and decided to move to a village to start her local practice. And then she got there and she met the locals. She met a guy who sort of introduced her to the community at a gathering. And what they do there is they sit together and they eat together. But getting there, she was just like, she's all these classy babes, and then she got to a setting where you just sit on the floor and eat with their hands. And they all started talking, oh, you're welcome. Everybody wanted her to feel that love, feel like, oh, you are a part of us, we are welcoming you into our fold. There was this older woman who was eating, and it's just their regular practice to eat with their hands. And then she put food in her hands and tried to give to the lady to eat, and the lady declined. She declined because, one, she won't eat with her hands. Two, it just felt awkward to do that, and she did that. The older woman didn't like it. She felt bad. Another lady, trying to shrug that off, said, oh, your hair is lovely, where do you get your clothes, where do you get your hair products from? And she said, oh, I ordered them online, I don't think anybody around here will have it. And she said that, and the lady also felt bad. Before you knew it, everybody decided to keep to themselves, and that initial wanting to welcome her just phased out like that. She set up the practice, nobody came to patronize her, and she was like, what's going on in this place? Why is everybody hostile towards me? And then that her male friend that introduced her to everybody came back and said, oh, tell me that when you came, you distributed some rice cakes or something like that to the people. She said no. And then she decided to go and distribute, and then she gave it to people. And then those people were feeling like, does she think just bringing this to us will just erase everything? And that made me realize that in different settings, there are unspoken rules in different places, things that nobody will outrightly tell you, but it's like a cultural thing, how they behave there. And she didn't know that her behavior that day already made it seem like you don't like us, you are not one of us, you've already put that bridge there. What she did wasn't outrightly wrong. If someone tries to feed you with an ear, like, it's not outrightly wrong, but in that kind of contextual setting, there was something wrong with what she did. But the guy was able to help her understand the people, and then it took a while, but she eventually integrated, everybody blended back together, resentment was out of the way and all of that. I'll cite another example. A friend of mine she migrated recently, got a job, and she didn't know that everybody was just drinking tea. And she's like, what's this thing with tea? Do you want tea? Want a cup of tea? And she was like, oh no, thank you. Now she's from a place where she's from Nigeria. Nigeria is hot. We don't drink tea as such. If you want to take tea, it's probably because you want to have breakfast, you're eating bread or something, and then you have tea, a cup of tea with it. And that's it. That's enough for you for the entire day. But in this place, they drink up to 5 to 6 cups of tea in a day during working hours. And she's like, what's going on here? And they're like, do you want a cup of tea? She'll say no. And little did she know that it was a cultural thing it's an unspoken rule not to decline an offer of a cup of tea, not to decline a cup of tea when someone offers it. And she was like, she didn't know. She just realized that people's attitude towards her changed. It's an unspoken rule. And eventually she learned, to start taking tea, start making tea for others. And it was just weird. Like, why will your boss be making tea for you? So it's a cultural context kind of thing. And you realize that because we have this desire to blend, to feel like you belong, to want to integrate, a lot of times we have to make certain adjustments. You have to observe the way people behave there and try to behave accordingly. Sometimes how you behave where you're coming from might not be outrightly wrong, or how they behave here might be different from what you're used to. But there's a place of respecting other people's choices. It was weird for that lady, to feed with your hands, but it wasn't wrong in that setting. That's how they live their lives. It's a communal setting. That's how they enjoy themselves, fellowship together. It's your birthday, everybody gathers together. You're doing something, everybody comes together. It was just how they lived. But she is coming from the city where you go to work and everybody's just busy, everybody's on the go and all of that. You don't have things like that. So they're from two different settings. So you might find out that you need to make certain adjustments. But what the issue is when you start having to make so many adjustments that you start losing yourself in the process. And how would you know you're losing yourself? Let me just cite a general example that everybody will be able to relate with. Maybe as a lady, you like this particular guy, you like him so much, and you just decide that, you've noticed that he has complimented 2 or 3 other ladies in your presence, or maybe he was scrolling on social media and said, and he made a nice comment about a particular lady, maybe because of how they dressed. And you feel like, I don't think I'm dressing that way. And you want to make an adjustment to dress that way so that this guy will like you. Because you like him, you're making adjustments. Now, there's nothing wrong with changing how you dress. However, the intention for doing it, you're doing it because you want this guy to like you, not necessarily for him to like you for who you are and how you dress right now. But you want him to like you, and you're making adjustments based on what you think he likes. And eventually, you might just realize that for some reason, he's not just seeing you. You've made adjustments. You've had to wear contacts. You put eyelashes. Your eyes are red. You had to go through this stress. Your legs are paining you. You're putting on heels everywhere. Your legs and he's not even noticing you. What you will end up with is frustration. You start becoming resentful, you start losing yourself. It's almost like you are going on this race because you want somebody to like you. And that happens a lot of times. Because we want to belong, we want to feel that it's a natural thing. It's a natural thing. But whilst it's natural, you have to be careful that you're not making too many adjustments and you start losing yourself. Take, for instance, another person relocates to another country. You realize that because you want to adjust to probably the British culture or how they behave, where they are, you start losing sight of your values from where you come from, which are very strong core values that make you who you are today. For instance, respect for people, just passing by and greeting people respectfully, or speaking to people in a very respectful manner. And then you get to a culture where you just feel like, well, it doesn't matter. And you start making these adjustments. It doesn't matter. Before you know it, you lose sight of who you really are. You lose your origin, where you are coming from. You lose that thing that makes you makes you different and unique. And how would you know that you're losing yourself? You start becoming unhappy. It starts feeling like you're pretending, and you will know in the core of your being, you will know that it's almost like you are acting. You are acting so this guy can like you. You are acting so that you would integrate, and it's very common in the corporate world. Everybody is just acting. There's a business corporate persona. There is, it's almost like everybody's just acting. Be careful not to lose yourself in the process. When you see that you're acting, when you see that you're becoming unhappy, you are losing sight of your uniqueness. You are also robbing people of the opportunity to meet the real you, the authentic you. So when you start feeling like a fraud, when you start feeling unhappy, you start feeling like you're pretending, it's a call to retrace your steps. It's a call to self-awareness. It's a call to find yourself again. Going back to the basics. What are my core values? What are the things I love? What are the things that make me different and unique? You need to go back to them so that you refresh yourself, and then you are able to easily spot the adjustments that you're making that are very unnecessary. Sometimes we think this thing called peer pressure, we think it's only children it happens to. It happens to adults as well. It happens to adults as well. You get to a certain, people are buying houses, people are doing this, people are doing that. You want to do that, and before you know it, you start living above your means at the moment. You start living above your means, get yourself into debt, into terrible things that you had no business with in the first place. Or take, for instance, let's say you get into a certain and they drink a lot there. Like the lady who said they take a lot of tea, like they take alcohol, and you don't do that normally, but because you want to really integrate, you start taking alcohol, or you start drinking, and then you just realize that probably somebody within that setting now has a health challenge. At best, everybody will look out for themselves, and he has to cut down on his drinking. You have made the decision, or you have made a choice to make these adjustments to fit in. But now someone is facing a health challenge, he has to make another adjustment for himself. So you're making an adjustment at your own risk. We need to be careful with the choices that we make because we want to integrate. Let's not let go of our core values. Let's not let go of our uniqueness, what makes us different. Let's not let go of it because you want to belong. I hope that with everything I've said today, with the few examples I've cited here and there, you can sort of relate it to your personal circumstance and see if the choices you're making, the adjustments you're making, if they are really true to yourself, or because you're trying to belong to another setting. I hope that it helps you. Till I see you next time. Thank you for waiting till the end. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Bye for now.